Hello, everyone. I am so excited today. So we're going to be talking about like how to find a good self-storage market and it's not what you think. And so I am so passionate about this subject because when I first started in self-storage, I personally thought I had to find and buy a facility within like 30 minutes of where I live. And where I live, you guys, is in Sacramento, California, which is one of the most expensive states to buy real estate in. And so I really struggled with this for a good like 4 or 5 months going in circles. And finally I was like, I gotta find something else. Like I gotta be looking elsewhere. And so what I want to talk about today is like, most people are looking in the wrong markets. Just because it's growing doesn't mean it's going to be profitable. Okay. And so what we're going to kind of go through is today I'm going to break down the 5-star market filter method that I use and I teach my self-storage school students on how to actually find and buy their very first storage facility. And so these techniques is just a filter. I always want to say this as a disclaimer, you guys, is and what can keep people stuck is that they have to have this perfect market and it has to be on, this growth list and it has to be within these certain parameters or it's not a good deal. No, you guys, a market, yes. Can a market really define you and break you? Absolutely, hands down, if it has a bad supply and demand index. But we also are looking at, is it storage facility cash flow? Did you buy it well? Like, where are these deals? And so I never in my life thought I would be buying a storage facility, you guys, in Louisiana. And so I laugh about this because I underwrote so many different deals, and Louisiana is literally across the whole entire country from me. And so I definitely would say I go there maybe like once a year, if that. And so my business partners and I trade off, but there is so much that you can do with remote management. So I'm going to change your mind. I want to shift your mindset, and we're going to talk about the 5-star storage market framework, which is something that I have put together as a guardrail to help you look at these different markets in a different way. So, number one, you guys, is population sweet spot. So, what is that population sweet spot? And so, what I like to tell my students are we are looking for cities that are greater than 10,000 people, less than 150,000 people. And the reason why this is a guardrail doesn't have to be set in stone, you guys. But the reason why is if it is too small of a city, there's a lot of these little pockets of cities that are like less than 10,000 people. And I see facilities on the Crexy, on LoopNet, on Facebook Marketplace, like all these places. But what can be really scary, and what I tell my students, is that there is greater risk, right, in these smaller markets. Because if one person came in, put their facility in there or built it from the ground up, now you are oversupplied and you can't go anywhere because you have a small population, right? So that is why we have these guardrails. So we're going to talk about tiers of cities. So a tier one market, you guys, is not a market that we're looking in. So that is normally huge metros such as Sacramento, California, over 1 million people, LA, Dallas, all those pieces. And so tier two markets are mid-sized markets, anything less than around 1 million people, right? Cincinnati, Ohio, right? Tier three markets, these are my favorite. Tier three markets and tier four markets. These are suburban markets that are less, they're about 50,000 to about 190,000 people, right? So Daytona, Ohio, Covington, Kansas, and Kentucky, right? And then tier four markets are these rural markets on the outskirts that are 10,000 to about 50,000 people, such as Franklin, Ohio. I'm really into Ohio lately because I have a business partner in Ohio and we're going to buy one. So if you find a deal, come to me. I'd love to buy it from you, or partner in JV. So I always like to say we are looking in tier three and tier four markets, and this kind of goes into number two. So now number two of the 5-star filter method is that we don't want to go into a no REIT zone. It is a no go zone, right? So avoid markets that are dominated by public storage, extra space, CubeSmart. Yes, there can be a couple of these REITs in your area. It's not going to kill you. I have a few in a few markets that I'm in, and we just trail them, right? But we don't want to play with the big dogs, right? So if you are opening up a Google Maps, and I'm going to show you right now how to kind of do this, but if it is Christmas tree, like lights up with self-storage, it says public storage or CubeSmart, that is an indicator that you are in one of these tier one or tier two markets that have been overtaken by some of these REITs. And we want to avoid those areas. Number three is, tier two to tier three markets. Like I said, these are the sweet spots. Okay. So anything that is greater than 10,000 people, less than maybe 150,000, these are the guardrails. If they go outside of it and it's still a great deal, buy it. Okay. So making sure that when we look in these areas, we have less competition and we have more motivated sellers that are normally mom and pop, which are the ones we want to target because those are the value add deals. Those are the deals with some like dirt, some they call them dirty dogs, but some skin right on the table. These are ones with no website. These are ones that have, 100% occupied and that the owners are baby boomers who want to possibly retire. So these are the ones we want to target, right? And REITs normally are not looking in these areas. So number four on the list is like we want upward growth in population. We want up to the right growth. Growth, right? And population. So anything that is a population that is growing at 0.01%. And so, the reason why we like this doesn't have to be set in stone, but the reason why I like this, it just shows that on that trajectory, there is a high economy, right? People are moving to this area. They like coming here. It is growing. The city has put money into it. Like there is a reason there's commerce going on, right? We are not in a flat city that is declining and people are moving away. Because you guys, the number one thing in storage is when people are moving, right? When things are kind of like they're moving, they're going to different places, buying houses, that is a huge indicator for why people will also use storage. Okay. Even though people use storage in an up market, downward market, and sideways market, we love when people are moving constantly. Number five, you guys, and probably one of the biggest ones here is that we were looking at supply is greater than supply. So what this means in business is if we have a lot of demand for storage, right, and not a lot of supply, we have the competitive advantage as a business owner, right? So wait lists equal gold. I'm going to say this one time. Wait lists equal gold. Mom and pop owners are gold. And so when you see on their website or when you call them that they have no units to sell, as a business owner, you should always have something to sell. And so wait lists are really a great ticket. When you see this, it's a great indicator that yes, there is more need for more storage. So I wanted to kind of talk about this. You also will see something that on these websites that say only 5 units left. That's a really great indicator too. So making sure green lights all day long. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of an example on this one, and then we'll tie it into a nice little bow. But we skip flashy cities that are grabbed up by, REITs that have already been talked about on the growth spectrum, such as probably Tennessee. Cleveland, Tennessee is a big one people talked about. Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's already been like gobbled up. Okay. We need to be looking on these outskirts now of where these new homes are being built and where people want to move outside of these rural areas, right? Or sorry, outside of these urban areas that a lot of people are no longer liking because there's traffic and the politics are probably not the best. So looking for this type of competitive advantage is really important when we talk about the 5 filters of a self-storage market. And that is why I really love teaching this concept to my self-storage school students. Now, I'm going to put a big disclaimer on this, okay? And I am not contradicting myself, but I'm going to say this because you guys, markets are only as good as they are deals. Okay. And so don't limit this mindset where it has to be perfectly in these parameters, because if it's a deal and it pencils and it cash flows and there is a lot of demand for it, that's a great deal. Buy it. Go buy it. Right. So making sure that this does not keep you in a box. We want to be outside the box, scribbling outside the lines, right? And finding opportunity based on what we see as an investor. That is the whole game of investing, where we see opportunity that no one else is looking. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a case study too with one of my self-storage school students. And I think this is really important, is that inside self-storage school, we talk about, the storage markets. We talk about how do you underwrite the deal, how do you put an offer in, how do you make creative offers that are a win and then negotiate it, right? And that is how you actually buy your first facility. But inside storage school, we had a student that had just started. And for the first 2 months, he was crafting his buy box. And so he was very set in stone on, I am going to buy a storage facility within 30 minutes of where I live. And so, as a coach does, we always love saying, okay, hey, pepper in things that maybe someone has not thought about, right? And that's what I love doing, is being like, hey, okay, so let's change this mindset. So if you only stayed and bought within 30 minutes, how many storage facilities are there? I think there was only like 7 or 8. And so I'm like, you're limiting yourself here, right? So we're putting ourselves in a little box. Now, if we open ourselves up to a shotgun approach where we are looking at storage facilities throughout the US, which you guys, there is 70,000 storage facilities in the US, which is wild to me. Okay. We are opening ourselves up to more opportunity because we want to buy a good storage deal. And the next thing is in a good market that no one else is looking. So this is really, really important. So he, after using like the 5-star market filter, and I said, hey, come back, let's take a look at some other cities that you're interested in. He pivoted to finding a tier 3 market in a certain couple towns and cities and states that he did not live in, right? Because there's remote management. So within 90 days, you guys, he cold called, sent messages, sent text messages and direct mail, and he locked up his first storage facility. Okay. So 100% full. It's mom and pop, does not have a website. It's not on Google My Business. And the best part about this is that he's going to have some type of seller financing piece to it, and in addition to a bank loan. And then what is even more special about this deal is that he's actually now going to be buying the storage facility next door, and he's coupling this in as a portfolio. So not only did he get one, he got two by opening himself up to a bigger mindset, knowing that you guys can have remote management and you guys can put simple systems in place because we are renting out space, right? We are not renting out an area to live in. We are renting out space. No toilets, no tenants, no employees equals less issues. Like I need a hat like that. So you guys, this is such an important concept. I really wanted to put a nice little bow on it. And so again, you guys, I'm going to say this one more time in a different way, but a market is only as good as a deal you find in it. And so, don't fall in love with the market that you live in. Fall in love with the numbers that it produces. It's cash flow, it's return on investment, it's value add strategy, and then the structure on which you purchase it with that deal. Okay. That is going to create endless cash flow opportunity for you, and you're going to actually tax your investment and your net worth snowball over time. Okay, so your next storage deal might be in a place you've never heard of. Literally in storage, this is what I love storage, is that I get to go to all these different places throughout different cities and states. I've never heard of them, and I love looking on Google Maps, and I'm like, wow, okay, Daytona, Ohio. I mean, that's a bigger city that most people know about, but Franklin, right? Franklin, Texas. Franklin, Tennessee. There's two actually. Did not know that, but I have become so good at finding these off-market storage mom and pop deals in towns that I've never heard of before. And that is where the real value is sometimes. Okay. So I want to put a bow on this and kind of close this out. But if you are serious about buying your first storage facility, finding it and buying it in 2025, self-storage school is open and we only open it up 3 times a year. And so we are actually starting the next cohort on June 2nd. And so if you are interested in joining the self-storage school where I teach you guys how to find, buy, and then put offers in and then operate your facility, make sure you guys send me a text message that has your first and last name and it just says self-storage school or storage school. Text me the word 916-579-7209. We can jump on a call. It will be me. There is no fluff. There is no pressure. It's just you, just me and you. I'm getting really crystal clear on like your buy box and what markets might be really great for you outside of where you live in different areas, and then setting up what that next step might be. Okay. So if this was interesting, make sure to send me a message. I would also love to send you my 5-part like storage filter framework. It's a cheat sheet. It's incredible. It has a list of like also resources, and it makes this really clean and crystal clear. So if you do want that, send me a message that says market cheat sheet to that same number above, which is 916-579-7209. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.